Okay, so we have established that it is perfectly okay to talk about dual things within a conversation of non-duality because the world is full of duality. So anything that we can do that's going to help us find out who we are, what we are, is going to fit right in this conversation easily. So let's examine some new things that have come to us from neuroscience. And this is some information that traditional mystics throughout the ages didn't have, and so they couldn't use in their conversations, but we can use this in our conversations today. One of the big things that neuroscience has discovered is that we actually have two sides of our brain that um, they're actually very separate from each other. If you look at the picture of brain, you'll see that it can actually open up in the left hemisphere and the right hemisphere are very, very separate. And our experience of them are also very separate. We just don't tend to really explore what it's like. But one of the biggest breakthroughs that has happened for us come from a neuroscience, a brain scientist named Jill Bolte Taylor, who you can look up her YouTube videos, and I highly recommend that you go study everything that she's said and written because it's very fascinating. She did a TED Talk called My Stroke of Genius. And what happened to her was she was a brain scientist. So she kind of saw the world from the point of view of a brain scientist, like how the brain works. And she had a stroke that took out a certain part of her left brain, the part that has to do with naming things and thinking about things. So literally, she had a stroke, a physical situation that happened that took out that part of the brain that spiritual seekers are constantly trying to take out through meditation and spiritual practices. So she just went consciously into what she calls a full right-brained experience. And when she was in this experience, she couldn't name anything. She like even her hand was completely dissolved into the universe. All she saw was molecules. She couldn't think of the names of anything. She couldn't understand speech. She couldn't speak. And so it's really good to just listen to her description of this because you compare it up to any mystical experience, ones that maybe you've had, ones that we can hear that other people have had, and it's the exact same thing. So that's really, really interesting when you think about it. The thing that keeps us from accessing that mystical experience is the fact that our left brain and our yucky brain is just constantly yakking. And you can discover through meditation. Well, I mean, many people have discovered it through drugs, right? That if you take a drug that shuts down that talking part of your brain, you're suddenly in bliss, you're in happiness, you're one with the universe. You feel like you've just come home, like everything's just gone normal. And it's all just because of the fact that the really loud talking left brain has suddenly gone quiet. So what does this mean for us as spiritual seekers? And we'll go through some exercises, in the coming videos. And can you start seeing how you need to go through these videos in order because each one's building on something that the one before was talking about. But we'll go through some exercises to discover that no matter how noisy and present your yakking left brain may seem, the right brain is always there, just equally present. All we have to do is kind of realize that it's always present And what's really interesting about that is that then it makes it way easier to access that experience anytime we want.